Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the meet and greet with the Vice-Chancellor and Principal, Professor Francis Petersen. A special word of welcome to him. Thank you, Prof, for joining us. And then, of course, a special word of welcome to our CEO, Mr. Sandile Mtiane, and the Director of Facilities Management, Professor Susan Ardenhoff. It's good to have you all here. And it's good to have you here. You are the organization that keeps the wheels turning of this institution. And I think we should be grateful that you could spare your time to come and meet with us today. And I want to thank you all for that. We're going to start the session with the speech by the Vice-Chancellor is going to talk to you. And then that will be followed by a question and answer session where we will give you the opportunity to engage with the Vice-Chancellor, with Prof. Petersen. So if there's anything that you would like to ask him, you can start thinking about that, and then we will give you an opportunity afterwards to ask your question. So without delaying the process any further, let's welcome Professor Francis Petersen.
Thank you very much, Rikus. The sound is fine. Well, first of all, good morning to all of you, and it's wonderful to see all of you here this morning. And to have the opportunity to engage with you. It's for me quite important to engage with our staff and our students. You probably have heard me saying, or whether it's in a written communication or on a platform where you have seen me spoken, I often refer to as the University of Pretoria is about its people. We can't talk about the university if we don't refer to the people of the university, which are the students and also our staff. So this morning I'm going to be talking to you as staff, as colleagues, as part of the UP community. Now, I started in October last year, and it was a very busy period of the year. It was a period where I came in, where we had to do a lot of reporting to the Department of Higher Education and Training, and the Department of Higher Education and Training is really our shareholder. In a company, you have shareholders of the company who owns the company. So we are a public institution, and our shareholder is government. And in government, the Department of Higher Education and Training is representing government in relation to universities, and obviously also University of Pretoria. So it happened during that period. There was a lot of reporting, how well we are doing in teaching and learning, in our research, how do we manage our finances, how do our facilities look like, and are our facilities appropriate, are they up to level to deliver the work that the university needs to be delivering. So it was also a time where we engaged with our council, which is our governing structure, which effectively is my boss and your bosses, sits on council. And we also have to give council comfort that the institution is managed well, it's been operating well, it's in a good condition. So during that time, it also happens to be reporting to council meetings and subcommittees of council. But it also gave me an opportunity to engage on the academic front. I had to attend and open conferences that our academic part of the staff presented. And that also allowed me and gave me the opportunity to interact with staff. I also met with the students, the student leadership, to get a better understanding who are our student leadership. What are the challenges that students would have on all of our campuses at the University of Pretoria, and also try to do a temperature check in relation to how the institution and the students are interacting and interfacing. It also gave me an opportunity to meet with alumni. We had various sessions with alumni. We also met the group that we call the convocation, and that's where all the alumni, those that have graduated, students that have graduated from the university, sort of got together They're obviously all working now, or most of them are working, and also to hear their views about the institution. So that last quarter was a quarter for me to learn more and to see more about the university. So what is my impressions coming out of that last quarter? So I clearly, in my engagement with the staff, I clearly could see and feel and hear that the staff of the University of Pretoria is generally very loyal towards the institution. They love UP. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean that there aren't challenges and frustrations that you might have, but overall, that loyalty I could clearly see in my engagement with the staff. And in my engagement with the students, I found our students to be, at least the ones that I've been engaging with, to be inspirational for me, because it's the quality of the student, the student that want to engage, want to learn more, want to understand more. So that is inspirational if you have conversations specifically with your youth, the younger component of the UP community, and they will become our future leaders. To hear and to see and to engage with them at that level has been fantastic. But they themselves are also aspirational in a way that they have got lots that they want to do in life. They see themselves going places, so to speak. So the students, for me, I also get a good understanding how they are and how they want to be engaged and what they would like to see from the institution. And then I had an opportunity to go through our different campuses and to look at the infrastructure. Now I'm an engineer, so infrastructure, plant, but I also use the terminology, layout, spatial layout, functioning of laboratories, functioning of equipment, the beauty of the landscape, how do we operate, how do we function. That is very dear to my heart. And you know, if a pumps, then that creates energy for me, because those are the things that are often a way of indicating that the institution is working. And I could see wonderful buildings. I could see good quality infrastructure. I could see landscaping that is fantastic. It's not only in a perfect condition, but the way and the shape of layout clearly give me indication that thought has been given in terms of how the landscape infuse itself in the building and what we want to project as a campus. And I could clearly see that there are equity amongst facilities in infrastructure on all of our campuses, which are very important, because we one university with 7 campuses, but it's that information that struck me as well. So that is what I got to know during the last quarter of last year, and obviously that gave me energy to start the new year, and I want to then say to all of you, I want to wish you well for 2025. We already almost gone through the half of February, but I am excited about the year. I am excited about what we're going to do together during 2025. So if this is how I see the University of Pretoria and my experience for now of the University of Pretoria, I often ask myself the question: so what is the business of a university? And I think for you it's probably also important to understand we've got the University of Pretoria, but are we only here to do research? Are we only here to educate students? We've got over 6,000 staff members. We have got 55,000 students. Probably this year's a little bit more than that, 55,000 students. We've got different faculties that service the students, but the question is still, so what is the business of the university? And I often say that the business of the university, for me, it is about what I called the academic project. Now let me explain to you what my understanding is about the academic project. The academic project is really about the teaching and learning. So this is often where students come in, they enroll for a certain program to do in a specific discipline, and they graduate, either as a lawyer or an engineer or as a landscaper or as a project manager, whatever the case might be. That is the education, the teaching and learning part is the educational component that we focus on. But we also focus on research and innovation. And a lot of what you're doing, inherently you're also applying a sort of different thinking. You sometimes, whether you do landscaping, mowing lawns, working with machines, I also would like you, while you're doing it, to think, how can I do it either differently or better? That's also part of what we call innovation. You want to continuously improve what you're doing. And the fact that we are in a learning organization, we must use that to say that how can we learn more on what we are doing? It doesn't really matter what your job is. There's always something that if you're passionate about your job, that you want to say, well, how can I improve it? Or how can I do it different to make sure that it's more effective? So that research is to develop new knowledge, new understanding. And then there's the innovation component, is to think differently, to apply things differently, to improve whatever we're doing. So that research and innovation is the second component. And the third component, which is for me also crucial, of the role of a university, and is part of the academic project, is to say, in our teaching and learning, and in our research and innovation, how do we impact our society in a more positive way? So, to what extent does our teaching and learning improve the lives of people outside of the university? Lives of people that might be close to you, your family, children, people that find it difficult to have a sustainable livelihood in life. That is also our role, to say to what extent can we, through our knowledge in teaching and learning, and through our knowledge in research and innovation, make that difference. And that for me is a crucial component, because that's often how people will look at universities and say, okay, but what did you do as an institution to make my life better or to make a difference? Now, certainly, yourself, because you're working at the university, you're earning a salary at the university, and we would like you to, this is also your campus, and whichever campus, whether it's Honest the Poort, or whether it's Prinshof, or whether it's Hillcrest, or whether it's any other campus, that is for us important to bring across that it's your campus. Because remember I said University of Pretoria, it is people, it's yourself. So to what extent you extract value out of that, and how do we make sure that the rest of the communities, in one way or another, also benefit from what we're doing as an institution. And that for me is the academic project. Now, the question is, so if we want to deliver the academic project, we often say if you got a job and we say, this is what you're going to do, the question that your line manager will ask, okay, but how are you going to do it effectively? How are you going to do it to make sure that what you deliver is actually good and is of good quality? If you're a plumber, if you're mowing the lawn, or if you work on the infrastructure maintenance component, doesn't really matter where you are, the line manager is going to say, well, this is your job. How are you going to do it to the best of your ability? And that is for me, when I ask the academic project, and when I refer to the academic project, I often say, how do we execute? How do we deliver the academic project to the best of our ability? And I use now a fancy word called effective. How can we deliver the academic project effectively? And there for me are three things that are important in terms of the how do we deliver the academic project effectively. The one is to say, how do we execute it? And often the execution of the academic project takes place mainly, not all the time, but mainly in the faculties, because it's related to the programs that I talked about, the disciplines. But there's obviously also other staff in the faculties, it's not only academic staff, that ensure that we deliver those academic programs to the best of our ability. But then there's a second component, and that is support. How do we support that project, the academic project? And that's all of us, all of the 6,000 staff members. So if we support the academic project, then it is about student experience, staff experience on our campuses, and that's all of our role. It doesn't matter how small you think your contribution is to the university. In the bigger picture, that makes a difference. If our campus are clean and spotless, then that encourages and stimulates fellow colleagues, fellow members of staff, and our students just to be themselves on our campus. And that is what we want to see. So that small little contribution that you're making is a support towards the academic project. And there's lots of other examples that I can cite. And then the third one is what I called enablement. How do we enable our staff and everyone involved in the academic project to deliver the academic project effectively? And that's mainly our managers. And managers is every, it's myself, it's the executive, it's the senior leadership group, but also the managers, the heads of departments, the managers in the divisions that you are, that are in divisions in the different divisions or different departments. And the enablement is about how do we create the environment for you to be able to deliver what you're supposed to deliver. So have you got the correct support? Is there recognition for what you do? In a session yesterday with HODs in the faculty, in one of the faculties, I'm talking about we don't often celebrate achievements, or if you're doing well, just a pat on the back to say, goodness, you're doing well. All of those things are, for me, how do you enable that environment so that the staff that is reporting to you feel you supporting them. You know what they're doing. And if there are areas which you can't do due to the fact that you might not have the right equipment or the right development, is that level of interest there between the manager and yourself to be able to identify what those issues are and have a conversation. And for me, That is the enablement. Now, the only thing that I'm looking at is in the effectiveness of the delivery of the academic project is to say all of my 6,000 staff need to be at the top of their game. So it doesn't really matter what you do, you need to understand what you're doing and you need to have that passion or that inclination to learn more about what I'm doing or what you're doing. And that for me means that you are continuously improving in what you do. And that's all that I'm expecting from you. Because once you do that, you're in a learning organization, you want to learn more, but then it comes that you own what you're doing and you feel what I'm doing make a contribution to the academic project that serves the full community of the University of Pretoria, but also outside of the university. And that's what we're looking at. And for me, to create that environment of enablement, it's important that you yourself need to feel valued. You need to feel valued. You need to feel that what I'm doing, people appreciate. You need to feel that you want to wake up every morning to come to the University of Pretoria because it's an environment that is welcoming. It's an environment that I want to be. You want to be feeling that there is empathy and humaneness that accompany that environment. And I call that environment, which is effectively referring to institutional culture, I refer to that environment as a human-centered environment, where you, as the person, is actually in the center of focus. So it's not about only 6,000 people, it's about the individual as part of the 6,000 people. And that means that the engagement between you and your fellow colleagues, fellow members of staff, with your line manager, need to be an open engagement, open conversation, honest conversation, so that we create that environment. Obviously, that doesn't mean that we will disagree from one another. It doesn't mean that there are sometimes frustrations, but we will tackle those frustrations in a level of respect and understanding. And that's the environment which I would like to see at UP. Now that there are areas of that already, and we need to find a mechanism to ensure that we expand that area, so that when we're talking about the UP culture, that's the culture that we should be talking about. But as you know, culture is about lived experience, right? So I can stand up here and I say, this is our culture. But if you don't experience it yourself, you won't believe me. And the beauty of that human-centered approach and culture is not the responsibility of only one person, or two people, or three people. It's all of us responsibility. And we will have to work together to be able to create that culture. Because if we create that culture, I'm feeling that we will have not only a stable workforce, but also a workforce and a community that want to give to the academic project, to UP. And I often say that we are all here for a certain period. Now, we're not going to live the University of Pretoria, and we celebrated, was it on Monday? Was it Monday? The 10th. Yeah, we celebrated the 170th birthday on last Monday. And there will be a couple of celebrations on other campuses as well. So it's 117 years old. And it will grow and it will outlast us and outlive us as an institution. So whilst we're here, we're only the custodians of this institution. And our role is to ensure as custodians that we, when we leave the institution in a better place than when we found it. Because we know that our children and our children's children is going to enter these halls and these passages. They will become members of staff of UP, and we want to leave them an institution that they can be proud of. That some of them could stand here and convey a similar message to the staff working at the institution during that time. So the human-centeredness is very, very important. And that is part of a process that we started also in October. So October last year was a busy month, where we engaged with the council of the university to start conceptualizing, reflecting on a new strategy for the university. The university strategy is going to be completed or will end the end of this year in 2025. So we are going to be part of a process, or we all going to be part of a process to develop a new strategy for 2026. And we started last year with a conversation with the council, conversation with the senior leadership group, and we're going to form about 4 or 5 task teams that are representing the institution, but those task teams will be engaging with all of you in different ways, in meetings such as this, in social media, in roundtable discussions, to also hear your input, where you think UP should be going over the next period. And the strategy probably is going to take us to 2038, and in 2038 the university would be 130 years old. So that process is going to be happening, in fact, probably starting the end of February, and it will continue up until October, just September, and then we will take the strategy hopefully to council in November for final approval, so that it can start to be implemented in 2026. And you're going to be part of that development to make sure that our strategy, which is our strategy, is going to be owned by yourself, and you're going to have an opportunity to provide input. But the human-centered component is going to be a key part that we're going to see being included in the strategy. There are other aspects as well that will talk about the research that we're doing and see how we can do more. And that is also aspects that we're going to include in the strategy. And then there is also going to be a focus on technology. And the technology, and the reason why it's important to discuss and debate that, the developments in technology is happening at an exponential rate. So it's happening very fast. And to a certain extent, you can't actually predict how the technology is going to look like 2 or 3 years from now, because the fact that it developed very, very quickly. And technology is going to be part and parcel of our life. But we need to understand that we have to manage technology and work with technology very responsibly. The technology is not supposed to replace jobs. But the technology is there to enhance the job. So you might have to do skills development, that we reskilling in a way to use a specific technology. Your equipment that you might use would use advanced technology that we might not have today. But for me, when we're talking about technology, it is also about not only the use of the technology, but the responsible use of technology in the ethical part that goes with that. So that will be part of the strategy, and it will be important for us to engage with that, to see how technology is infused in everything that we do, but in a very responsible way. And the other aspect that is going to be a key part of the strategy is about our impact on society. And that for me is quite crucial. You know, we're doing a lot of projects with the community, and we should continue doing that. We should expand actually on that community engagement. We're also doing a lot of work that enhances the industry. Talk about industry transformation. So industry become more competitive. Some of the research that we're doing here, you know, we're doing fantastic research in robotics in mining, in the mining department here, that go into places in underground mining where workers normally would have gone in. Our rock drill operators would normally have gone into that, and it's very unsafe. The robot can go in there, and they could do some of that mining, or they could check whether the area is safe before we send people in. And those are advances that we could cite across the university. We should continue doing that, and we should do more of that. But we should also say to what extent do we see our community much larger defined, not only communities as living in areas of which have potential challenges and sustainable livelihoods, but communities that also include other parts of the economy. To what extent do we partner with them in a way where they feel, goodness, UP is a friend. UP is someone that I can engage with on a particular issue. And that for me would mean that we will also reimagine our partnership model with stakeholders in the economy, stakeholders in the society. And it needs to be different. It needs to be much more engaged. It needs to be seen that they're actually a colleague of UP, rather than somebody that we say we would like to collaborate with. So we then move our engagement to co-creation. How wonderful would it be if there are programs that are designed by Sasol or Anglo-American or Londman or SAPI, that we could co-design with UP, and UP staff could also benefit, and students could benefit the same way as what the staff in those industries would benefit. Nothing stops us to do that. And I think that's the sort of engagement, societal engagement. So at the end, what would I like to see the UP strive to be? Because remember, a vision is an aspiration, but we have to work hard to make sure that that is a strategy that is developed that's going to take us to that vision. I want to see UP as an inclusive institution, and an institution where we appreciate and we respect diversity, because diversity is so useful. I think diversity makes institutions much more stronger, because you get different perspectives, different views, and therefore the solution that you craft is tested in different ways. It has to be stronger. So an inclusive, diverse, human-centered institution that will always be as a fundamental value excellence. Not only academic excellence, excellence in what you are doing, to make sure that the quality of what we're delivering is always to the best of our ability. Inclusive, diverse, human-centered, never compromise, excellence. And I think if we have that, we will have a UP that would be able to respond to the challenges of society and therefore contribute through what we're doing as an institution, through our academic project, and changes the lives of people in society for the better. So I'm very much looking forward to working with you, and thank you once again. And Rikus, you're going to handle the questions. Thank you. and answer the question.
Thank you very much, Professor Petersen, for your insights and for sharing a bit of your vision with all of us. I think we now have a better understanding of the direction you want to take the institution. So thank you very much for that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to allow you or open it up for questions. And if we could do it, structure it by allowing 4 people to ask questions, and then we'll give the Prof. Petersen an opportunity to respond to those questions, and then we'll do another round of 4 questions. If I could ask you, we do have a roving mic, I think more than one. There's one there, and there's one. There are 2 roving mics at the back, so we'll come to you. If you could just start off by introducing yourself, just the VC would like to know who he's talking to, and then you can ask your question, and if I can also ask you to please keep it short and sharp. We want to give as many people as possible an opportunity to engage with the Vice-Chancellor. So yeah, you have now an opportunity, and if you could raise your hands, the light's a little bright, but I'm sure I'll see if you want to raise your hand, if you want to ask a question, or just stand up, and I'll see you. Where do we have? Right at the back? Yeah. Please remember to introduce yourself.
Good morning, everybody.
There we go. It's on.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Tanya Myers. I work in stores. I just have this burning question, and I believe there's other people also, employees, staff members, my colleagues. They would also like an answer to that. We want to know who is there to support the employees if we have a problem, because the union is not actively helping us. Employee relations is not there to help us. Our director is not there to help us. HR is not there to help us. Who can we turn to if we need help? I was on suspension for 5 months. I've been back since Monday. No apology was given. They just said the suspension was lifted just because I asked a question, where is my performance bonus? Why didn't I receive it? So I just need answers on that, please. And please don't suspend me again because I asked that question. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you very much. Okay, we've got another question here. Yeah.
Thank you very much for the platform, and welcome, Prof. Petersen. My name is Wisani Manganya from the Project Management Division. I'm involved with infrastructure projects. At the recent World Economic Forum, there was an announcement that was made regarding the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And I just needed to maybe get more details about it as to whether we're going to have a specific infrastructure or building that will be specializing in that specific field of technology and industry and technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Wisani. Okay, we have 2 more questions for this round. If I don't, there we go. Yeah.
Good morning and welcome, Prof. My name is Lindley Carols. I'm the Senior OHS and Fire Coordinator for the university. I'd just like to know if there is any lookout for maybe other medical aids that the university can actually just ask for alternative that the 2 that we actually do have now. Due to, there's a lot of financial constraints that each and every one of us actually sits in here, and then one medical aid go up less than the other, and the other one actually skyrocketed. So we just like to know maybe if there is some sort of alternative that other medical aids also can be included.
Thank you. Lindley. Okay, one more question, and then we'll ask the VC to respond before we give you another round. Sure, there's someone with a burning question. There we go. The gentleman right there. Yeah.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Walter Munare.
Sorry, just say your name again.
Oltamnare. Welcome, Prof. Petersen.
Thank you.
I heard that you say that you recognize us as our staff, as your staff. So I wanted to know, why are there any posts for people who got dismissed and those who have gone to pension? There are short staff at facilities, both cleaning sector and landscaping. Can there be any posts so that we can get other staffs?
Sorry, can I just... do you understand the... So, do you just explain what is it exactly you're asking? Is there a post to be promoted to other positions?
There are no posts that are being posted for people who have gone to retirement and those who have been dismissed. We always see the contractors filling those positions.
So you're saying there's no positions available for people who retire and for people who have been dismissed?
Yes, they are the contractors filling their position.
Oh, there's contractors filling in positions. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Is my voice back? Yeah, thank you. Tanya, I want to thank you again for asking the question. Let me say, if you feel there aren't support from either the union, from HR, from employee relations, and from your management team, I still think that you should engage again with the management team. And if you feel that there isn't responses and there's no interest, then I think you can also then say, well, to the manager that you will have a discussion with the manager, hopefully, with the chief operating officer in your space, because I think that communication is very important. But as I said before, if you have a communication or conversation with the line manager, it doesn't mean that everything that you ask you will get. There might be a disagreement, but if there is no communication, then that would be a challenge. So I think if that is the case, then one need to resolve that. With HR, HR is gonna go through a bit of rethinking in terms of how we focus our attention in the different areas. You might be aware that we are in the process of appointing an executive director for people and culture. And that would be a person that would report directly to me. And HR, the focus is going to be only HR. We want to see how we can enhance the work and also the services that HR is doing giving to and providing to our staff. And I know that there are challenges at this moment in time. I have been engaging with HR and we're doing things in the short term, but once that individual has been appointed, there is going to be a relook. And the two areas that we are focusing at the moment, myself and the Chief Operating Officer, is really employee relations, as well as the business partners engagement with the faculties, to see how we can up it in the meantime, so that when the new person comes in, at least there is some work that need to be done. So I hope that we can change that environment. Again, in relation to you not getting a bonus or whatever you ask for, I can't comment on that. That you once again need to take up with the line manager. But at least I want to make sure that there is conversation and communication and open channels, so that where there are issues that need to be addressed, that's been addressed effectively. Sani, in terms of the World Economic Forum, yes, we a few weeks back, the World Economic Forum announced a South African Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution, focusing primarily on industrial transformation as a component, and there we would look at the energy transition. That South Africa is on a journey to net zero or at least to lower the emissions. And then the other one would focus on supply chain and we have got a very robust supply chain to be able to deliver on an effective advanced manufacturing component for South Africa. But those two will be driven by digital technologies. And the center is going to be housed and hosted by the University of Pretoria, but it's a center that really would engage us in a co-created fashion with all the sectors of the economy. So we will have engagement with all the universities, or most of the universities that have got those expertise. We will engage with science councils like the CSIR, Mintech, Nexa. We will engage with government departments. It's probably mainly going to be, for now, science, technology, and innovation, communication and digital technologies, and then also DTIC. And then we will engage with the industry. And that's probably mostly the industry that's focusing on emissions. So that's the sort of the resources industry that I'm talking about. So that's a center. We're not gonna for now not gonna construct new buildings. We probably will use the Future Africa platform as a starting point. So there is where the center critical core is probably going to be located. But because it's a South African center, we want to create a model that facilitate the co-creation with the other entities. And not saying, well, if you built a building, you say the 4IR, it could become or could be seen that this is a UP only center. So the model must also be designed infrastructurally also in a way that brings other universities, other science councils to work and to engage. And it might even be that it's sort of a hub and spoke, so there might be different spokes. So we might have components of the center that sit at WITS or sits at UCT or sits at the CSIR or the MRC. Or, so that we're busy conceptualizing at the moment. But I think what we can take credit for in a way is that it's going to be hosted by University of Pretoria, which obviously is the feather in the cap for the university. Lindy, other medical aids. Yeah, that's often a difficult question. We as HR and as the institution, we often try to assess the viability, the sustainability, and the effectiveness of medical aid schemes. But as you know, you don't just want to chase medical aid schemes that often, because they also work on a model, how they do their predictions and how do they fund it. So I'm not aware, and perhaps the CEO, if he knows, could comment on that. I'm not aware that we're assessing at the moment, or let me rather put it this way: we are continuously looking at the model, so that's probably part of assessing. But I'm not aware that we are intentionally focusing on how to switch from one to another. We have a suite of distribution of members of different income levels, different advantages or benefits that you get. And when the medical aid look at it, they look at it as a collective. So I remember when I was at the University of Cape Town, when we had staff that we insourced, we also had challenges with our medical aid. And so we did a lot of actuarial analysis in terms of can we produce a surgical medical aid which is much more cheaper for the insourced staff. And that was a difficult exercise to do. But I will definitely engage again with HR just to hear But the point that I want to make is not that the decision to change from one to another is a little bit more complicated than just rates that goes up. Okay. Yeah, I don't know the name. I didn't catch this. Walter Fani or somebody. Welcome. Is it welcome? Sorry, welcome. Welcome. I think you probably referred to. It could also refer to part of the university, or a year or two ago, we had a strategy where we look at financial sustainability, and we didn't want to fill positions where people retire or people resigned. So when that happened, you create a vacant position, and we didn't want to fill that immediately. In fact, there was a moratorium on that as part of a financial sustainability plan, because we needed to make sure that we get our cost and our income under control. So due to that, you sometimes might get either you could have two ways of managing it. You could either say the work that specific position would have done, a fraction of that could be done by others, but you also have to look at the workload, obviously. Or you could say, well, let's for an interim bring in a contract individual to do that. So I think that probably is where the contract staff come in. But we will have to reassess that and to see, because there are sometimes critical positions that we need to fill, otherwise your operations is not going to pursue. But what that exercise also was supposed to do, and I haven't got those results as yet, but what's supposed to do was also to look at whether the departments and the divisions were structured correctly. Because over time, sometimes, you can get either a division that is under-resourced to be able to do whatever the division needs to do or the department needs to do, or you could have a department that is over-resourced. And an opportunity such as this allow the manager and the management to revisit and relook, to say, well, are we still correctly resourced to be able to deliver what we need to deliver? And for me, that information is probably more important. I think the fact that we needed to apply the methodology of not filling those posts were part of financial sustainability. For me, it is how do you shape your structure of the university correctly? And this is an opportunity. I often say when you pause, you must do something in that period. And part of that was to reflect, to see whether there was enough, whether the department is correctly structured. But hopefully, in due course, that will change, and we would be able, probably not to fill all of those positions that became vacant, but surely once we have done that reflections, there would be a proportion of those that could be filled. But that will be after conversation with the management. Okay.
Thank you, Prof. Petersen. I always say I'm glad I don't have that job. Okay, any more questions? We have 4 more opportunities for you to ask questions. There's a lady here.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. My name is Una Renene Mutodi. I work at the Campus Planning and Development. I hate speaking in public, but then I guess I have to. You mentioned that culture is the lived experience, which I loved it because it's true. And in 2022 or so, there was a survey on institutional culture, and there was findings for the department and also institutionally. And there was beautiful things and negative things. And the negative feedback that was picked up in our department was also picked up in the institution, but not 100%. It was cutting across somewhere. My question is, since the lived experience is us, everyone is the employee, what are the employees, what are we given opportunities to improve on that? My question is because after the findings, as an employee, I have not seen anything. Are we going to know that the culture has improved after another survey years later? Or is the management trying to improve on the culture on their own? Or what is happening with the lived experience of the staff members? Thank you.
Okay. There's another question, yeah.
Good morning, everyone. We welcome you, our new prof. My name is Thandi Sharenda. I only have one question, or I'm not sure it's a question or maybe a clarity. My problem is where in our department, we have 2 knock-in times and 2 knock-out times. I knock in at the gate, and then also I will knock in at the office in a timesheet. So I don't know whether is it necessary for us to have 2 knock-in times and 2 knock-in times at the afternoon. I just needed clarity there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Thandi. Okay. Another question? Got a lady here. Just want to make sure. Yeah.
Good morning, the VC. Good morning, everyone. All protocol observed. My name is Catherine Hlapo. I'm working on the hygiene services. Okay, it's not a question, but it's a asking. We are asking for 13 check, please.
13 check. They're asking for a 13. Sorry, I think it's Stephanie.
Even though it's not a full salary, but at least a bonus something.
Thank you.
Please, with a due respect.
Sorry, can I just, is it Stephanie or Catherine? Catherine. Catherine. Yeah, yes. Yeah. Okay, another question right there at the back.
Good day, Prof. My name is Jane Guni. I'm the sector manager hygiene and also the ABSA branch secretary. And I want to criticize you on one thing. We attended your interview and we expected before you do meet and greet, you were supposed to meet with the unions. So I can see the schedule of every department and faculty, but we haven't received an invite to speak with the leadership. That's number 1. Number 2, I want to criticize the events. You spoke of culture of the institution. I've been here from 2006. And since then, we have had spring days where we meet as an institution with our VC and we celebrate the spring day. That thing has stopped. Second to that, they replaced it with 1 day. We appreciated that. Now, recently we attended the 117th birthday party. And it was, I don't know how to put it in the correct way, but it was disappointing. I don't know who's the marketing team, or the one who are doing events, or the one who gives the budget for that event. Maybe I will point a finger at the wrong people, but the budget is coming from above. When you create such events, cater for everyone. People left there without getting the celebration that they were used to. Already 12:30, there was no cake. The cake that we had it's a cake I would buy for my son when he's celebrating his birthday. So we used to have cakes that surround the hall to a point that when the institution is celebrating its workers through the birthday, you would even carry the cake home. But some of the staff members didn't even receive a cupcake. And we don't want a situation where, as leadership, we hear through the corridors that they nicknamed you a cupcake. We don't want that situation, Prof, so we are mentioning it to you. If it's possible, is the issue of the finances. We are requesting, if it's a birthday, like they did away with the spring day and exchange it with the one day, can the university give the employee half day, at least on the birthday, so that they can appreciate that, then they go home early? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is it full?
Is it feed?
Yeah, I think it's feed, yeah. Now, thank you very much for those questions. You know, in terms of the culture, the lived experience, the culture survey, the culture survey obviously has been conducted, I think it was a few years back. The report was made available. The strategy was that different departments needs to provide their plans and their strategies in relation to how they're going to respond to those issues that's been raised. And we're following that, we track that. I don't think it has been communicated fully, the progress to the university community. But in terms of the new strategy, it's probably that my suggestion would be that we collapse some of that work into the human-centered approach focus. And my approach of dealing with culture is that you need to do it as a collective. So I think there was a certain strategy to say, well, let's ask the departments and faculties to say, how are you going to respond? I think because it's an institutional culture, the institution need to say, okay, but this is how we're going to do it. It's going to be a bottom-up and top-down approach because culture needs to work up and down. So I'm going to see how we're going to strengthen that. It's not to say that the initiatives that departments are doing aren't working. I just wanted to see to what extent we could learn across the institution if there's some initiatives that work in one department and others. So we will probably have a more scientific way of how we're going to approach the institutional culture project. And it's going to be a project that's going to be engaging at different levels. So there is going to be a component that are institutional, which is applicable to all faculties and all departments. And then there is a distributed component where unique components or unique aspects in the different departments and different faculties could be further. But for me, that is my thinking. Again, that hasn't been discussed fully with the team, with the senior leadership team. But I want to see, and then there could be regular communications to the university community, because then people could see something is happening across the institution over and above what's happening within the faculties and departments. Tandi, in terms of lock-in, two lock-ins, I know that the lock-in gate obviously is to make sure that we have got a control of people entering and exiting the campus. So that's applicable to anyone. Time sheets are often applicable to certain category of work that you're going to conduct, and therefore that need to be monitored. So that's more the gate entrance is access and exit, so that we've got a sense of who enter and who exit the campus. Because remember, campus is need to be a safe space, and we need to know who's on our campus. The other one is more work-related to the category of work. And that's the reason why I see the two different lock-ins. And therefore you have to say, well, I'm doing this, I came in this time, this is the time that I've spent. But that would be my explanation. And again, either the manager or the CEO could add to that. Catherine, about the 13th check. I'm not going to comment on that because that obviously has been part of also the discussions with the unions, and I think there were probably proper feedback given to the unions, and the unions hopefully have communicated that to their different constituencies. But yeah, so whatever has been communicated there, I'm still standing by that. Financial sustainability is for us quite crucial. We want to balance the interest of our people with the interest of the institution. And the pressures on the institution's income streams are increasing year by year. So we don't want to be unfair to our staff, but we also have to make sure that our institution is capable of delivering our academic projects. So what is a discussion that I know the CEO is often, he and I do talk quite a lot, and we often talk about these things, but also the rest of the executive, and the feedback that was given to the unions and to the union's constituency is still the feedback that we stand for now. But I'm not saying we're going to look into it, but we often look at how can we treat our staff better, and the financial contribution is a key part of that. I think it's Jenny at the back. Well, first of all, I accept the critique. I did meet with some of the unions. It's a pity that we didn't specifically invited you, and we will have to correct that, COO. So I'm taking that as a mistake from our side, but it's not that we haven't met with some of the union members right at the beginning, and we will have to make sure that we correct it with the other unions. The 170th birthday. So I wasn't here before, so I don't know how spectacular birthday parties were at the UP. And we need to look at that. It's once again the same response that I'm giving to Catherine, to you, is that the birthday celebration is a celebration. But often people also say, okay, but how do you do that? Keeping in mind the pressures. I could also expect a comment from the unions if we have a spectacular birthday party with cakes everywhere, and to say, well, you can't give us a 13th check or 14th check, but you have this particular party. So you're going to get critique from all ways, and we accept those, but we always have to balance that out. But I think let's take your input. I certainly will take it back and discuss it with our marketing team, and to see whether we can do something different. You haven't given me credit for the fact that we gave you a day off last year, at the end of last year. Thank you. But yeah, so it's about balance, and we always, doesn't even matter what decision you take. I think the decision should always be of the interest to both our people and both of the institutions. And sometimes the decisions is going to be critiqued or are going to be critiqued, but as long as we know that the decision wasn't a selfish, egoistic decision. It was a decision that we have made that balance. And I often say that the same to the unions that I've been engaging with. That's the same message that I gave, and also to our students. Our responsibility and your responsibility as well as leadership of the union is to say, well, I have to bet for my constituency, but I also have to bet for the institution. And therefore, it's going to be a compromise somewhere. Because if you only focus on the one, the other one is going to be left behind. And our role, coming back to our custodianship, is to make sure that this institution is in a better shape when we leave it, but not to the disadvantage of the people currently in the institution. And there is where the balance always will be.
Thank you, Prof. Petersen. I'm going to ask the director just to respond maybe to the login question.
Thank you very much. I didn't want to specifically respond to questions. Suffice to say that we, at the time when the insourcing was announced, I did put a request to the powers that be in the university to develop a proper time and attendance system for us. I think we're on the verge of now appointing a service provider to provide such a service for us. And it is my view that in our department, every single staff member in the Department of Facilities Management will make use of the time and attendance system. And I can confirm that the access control system that we use on the perimeter fences is not at all seen as a time and attendance system, but as a security system. And as such, in no instance have we used that system as a measure of time and attendance, because it doesn't function as a time and attendance system. But I would like to also use the opportunity to thank Professor Petersen for creating this opportunity for us as a collective, as a department, to hear his views and to allow the opportunity for anyone to ask a question, to openly criticize the management in the department. I think it points to a new approach in terms of the culture in the university. We spoke about culture and changes in culture. I think this shows an openness, and I really want to thank you for that. So I think all of us, thank you for giving us the opportunity to air our views, and where we're not given the opportunities by whoever's in charge, to create the opportunities for us to clear the air. And I think as a management team, we'll consider what has been said, and we'll think as to how we can improve that. And then in conclusion, I just want to say, Professor Petersen, for the first time in 16 years, and I did say this to you the other day in your office, we finally again have a VC who understands our portfolio. We do have one of the most challenging portfolios, one of the most expensive portfolios with the biggest constraints in terms of funding. And we always try our best to manage our processes as orderly as possible and not to have unnecessary expenditure, so that what we do wisely. But at last, we again have someone who understands the constraints under which we operate. It is a difficult portfolio because it's a portfolio where we are primarily seen when things go wrong. I was pleased to hear that Professor Petersen did say that he looked at the state of the campuses and so on, and he was, I hope, sort of satisfied. It's very far from perfect, but it is a challenging portfolio, and we never have enough money to do everything we want to do. So thank you very much, and thank you. We really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.